I didn't let my sister move into my apartment, and that's when we discovered the web of lies our parents used to keep us apart for years. I thought refusing to let my sister crash at my apartment would end the drama. Instead, it opened the door to a truth that flipped everything I believed about my family. It started with a phone call late one night. My sister's voice came through, asking if she could stay with me for a few weeks. I didn't hesitate to say no. We hadn't been close in years, and I had no reason to think she'd respect my space. She'd always been the chaotic one, the one who showed up with problems and left messes behind. I expected her to argue or guilt-trip me, the way she used to when we were younger. But she didn't. She stayed quiet for a moment, then just said, "Okay," and hung up. That silence stuck with me. 2 days later, my mother called. She was furious, her voice sharp as she accused me of being cold-hearted and selfish. That wasn't new, Mom had a temper, but something felt off. She kept repeating how ungrateful I was for everything they'd sacrificed, dragging out the word sacrificed, like it was supposed to mean more than it did. I didn't know what she was getting at, but it planted a seed of doubt. Things were about to unravel, and I didn't even see it coming. I always knew my relationship with my sister was strained. Growing up, we were never close. She was the difficult one, the one who demanded attention, while I stayed quiet and kept to myself. My parents drilled that into me early on. They'd say she was going through a lot, that I had it easy compared to her. They told me to keep my distance, so I did. It wasn't hard. She was loud, unpredictable, and always in some kind of trouble. I didn't question why they pushed me away from her. They never explained what "a lot" meant, just left it hanging there like a warning. As a kid, I accepted it. When I got older, I figured she was just troubled, maybe drugs, maybe mental health, maybe both. I didn't ask. We barely spoke after I moved out. She'd call once in a while, usually when she needed something, and I'd keep it short. That was our pattern. I built my life without her in it, and it felt normal. Looking back, I realize how little I actually knew about her. My parents shaped that distance, and I never thought to push back against it until now. After the apartment call, my sister sent me a long email. I almost didn't open it, expecting a rant about how I'd let her down. But it wasn't angry. It was detailed, packed with pieces of her life I'd never heard before. She wrote about how she wasn't allowed to contact me when we were kids. She said Mom told her I was better off without her around, that I didn't need her dragging me down. She mentioned not even having my phone number until a couple of years ago. That stopped me cold. I grabbed my phone and scrolled through our call history. She was right. Every call, every text, it all started recently. Before that, nothing. I'd never noticed. My parents always handled the family communication, and I just went along with it. Her email laid out more, missed birthdays, holidays where she was left out, times she tried to reach me but couldn't. It didn't sound like the sister I knew, the one I'd written off as flaky and selfish. I sat there, staring at the screen, wondering why I'd never questioned the gaps before. I couldn't shake the email, so I called my sister and asked to meet. She agreed without hesitation, and we picked a coffee shop halfway between us. When I saw her walk in, she looked different, older, worn out, but not the mess I'd always pictured. We sat down and talked for hours. Her version of our childhood didn't line up with mine at all. She said our parents kept her away from family trips, told her I didn't want her there, that I had my own friends and didn't need her tagging along. She remembered specific moments, a camping trip I went on with Mom and Dad when I was 12, how she begged to come but they said I'd asked for it to just be us. I hadn't. She brought up a Christmas where I got a new bike and she got nothing, how they told her it was because she'd been bad that year. I remembered that bike, but not her absence. She said they fed her stories about me not liking her, about how I thought she was embarrassing. None of it was true. I sat there, listening, trying to match her memories to mine. They didn't fit. She wasn't angry while she talked, just exhausted, like she'd been carrying this weight for years and was finally setting it down. I asked her why she never told me before. She said she tried, but every letter, every call, got blocked or ignored. She assumed I hated her too. I didn't know what to say. After a while, I brought up our parents. I needed to hear their side. I called my father that night. He answered, his voice gruff as usual, and I asked him straight out about what she'd said. He brushed it off fast. Said she had mental lapses, that she made things up to feel better about herself. He told me not to take it seriously, that she'd always been unstable. I wanted to believe him, it was easier, but his words felt hollow. He didn't explain anything, just repeated that she wasn't reliable. I hung up more confused than before. My sister's story had details, dates, things I could check. Dad's response was just noise. I started wondering what else I'd missed, what else they'd shaped to keep me in the dark. That conversation with her stuck with me, replaying in my head, and I knew I couldn't let it go. I couldn't stop thinking about what my sister said, so I started digging. I went through old boxes in my apartment, stuff I'd kept from growing up. I found family photos, hundreds of them, but she was missing from most. In some, it looked like she'd been cropped out. The edges were uneven, like someone had cut her away. I pulled out yearbooks next. My name was all over them, sports awards, honor roll, random mentions, but hers wasn't. Not once. She was a year behind me in school, so she should have been there. I texted her about it. She said they made her switch schools after 5th grade, told her it was better for her to start fresh. I didn't remember that. She also said they forced her to see a counselor for years, starting when she was 8. She never knew why, just that they'd drop her off and pick her up, no explanation. I asked my mother about it the next day. I kept it casual, just probing. Her face tightened. She said I was always easier to raise, that my sister needed more help. Then she added something that hit me hard. You wouldn't understand. We were protecting you. Protecting me from what? She wouldn't say more, just turned away and started washing dishes like the conversation was over. Her defensiveness made me push harder in my head. Something was wrong, and I was starting to see it wasn't my sister. My sister and I kept talking after that, meeting up more, texting late into the night. The more we shared, the clearer it got. We were piecing together a puzzle our parents had scrambled. She brought up her birth, something I'd never thought about. She was born just 8 months after my parents got married. I'd always assumed we were full siblings, no question. But she said she'd overheard arguments when she was little, fights where Mom called her a mistake and Dad didn't argue back. She dug into it later and found out Dad had another kid before Mom, her. They raised us together but treated her like an outsider. It clicked then. The favoritism wasn't random. Mom resented Dad for his past, for bringing my sister into their life, but didn't want to leave him. So they kept her around, barely, and made sure she felt it. They told me she was unstable, difficult, someone to avoid, so I wouldn't get close and ask questions. I checked dates after that, her birthday, their wedding. The math lined up. I found an old photo of Dad with another woman, dated a year before I was born. My sister's face looked like hers. They'd built a wall between us to hide his secret, and I'd bought it my whole life. Everything shifted after we figured it out. My sister and I decided she'd move in with me, not because she was desperate for a place, but because we both wanted the time. Time to build something we'd never had. My apartment wasn't big, just a 1-bedroom with a pull-out couch, but she didn't care. She showed up with 2 duffel bags and a box of books, and we made it work. We spent nights talking, filling in the blanks of our lives. She told me about jobs she'd lost, friends who'd drifted away, how she'd always felt like she didn't belong. I told her about my routines, my quiet days, how I'd never questioned the family I thought I knew. It wasn't easy, but it felt right. Then we decided to confront our parents together. We drove to their house one Saturday, unannounced. They were in the living room when we walked in. I laid it out, her birth, the lies, the way they'd kept us apart. They didn't deny it. Mom sat there, arms crossed, and said they did what they had to do. Dad stared at the floor, tears in his eyes, but he didn't speak. No apology came. Mom doubled down, said it was for the best. They acted like we were the ones overreacting. We left without another word. Living with my sister changed things fast. We weren't just catching up, we were building something new. She got a job at a local store, started saving money, and I helped her sort out a budget. I learned she was good with numbers, sharp in ways I hadn't expected. We cooked together some nights, watched old movies, laughed about stuff we'd missed out on. But the anger stayed with me. Not at her, at our parents. I kept replaying their non-answers, their cold shrugs. I'd lost years with her because they couldn't face their own mess. Dad's past, Mom's resentment, they turned it into a wall between us. I used to think my family was normal, just distant. Now I saw it was a lie they'd patched together with silence and half-truths. They'd raised me to see her as the problem, and I'd gone along with it. That stung the most. I couldn't undo the past, but I could do this, give her a place, listen to her, know her. We were still figuring it out, still awkward sometimes, but it was real. The pieces they'd tried to bury were ours now, and we weren't letting go. The anger hasn't gone away, and I don't think it will anytime soon. It sits there, heavy, every time I think about my parents, and what they did. I'm not mad at my sister, She's the one piece of this I don't regret. They stole most of my life with her, kept her on the edges because of their shame, and I let it happen without knowing. I used to see my family as distant but functional, a little rough around the edges but fine. That's gone now. It was a lie they held together with resentment and control, and I was too busy living my own life to notice. My sister and I are different now. She's still in my apartment, paying half the rent, making it her space too. We've got routines, coffee in the morning, takeout on Fridays, quiet nights where we don't need to talk. It's not perfect, but it's ours. I don't know if I'll ever forgive them. They don't reach out, and I don't either. What they took can't be given back, but what's left is mine to rebuild. She's not a stranger anymore, and that's enough for now.